Purging. Hey, hey, hey. Today is my birthday. So, let's do this. Let's see what's going on in this divine union with Taurus. Any other May 18th babies out there? There we go. We've just been going through it, Taurus. It's been hard to keep gratitude, right? I find that when people talk about gratitude, it's kind of a catch-22 or a conundrum effect, where if you're Five of Pentacles, you can go back in there, clear the fear. When you're in a place of lack, it's really difficult to have gratitude, right? Because it feels false. And you're like, oh, I'm so thankful for all this abundance, when you've got negative in your bank account, or no lovers in sight. Maybe you're feeling sick, or physically feeling ill. You're just feeling when you're on a divine path, you're constantly dealing with invasions, external invasions, demonic invasions, right? Clear the fear. And it just seems like it's never ending. So when people are like, oh, just have gratitude and everything will be fine, it feels kind of like fake it till you make it, for sure. And a fellow Taurus, Seinfeld, has one of the episodes in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He's talking about how he would just make a terrible therapist, because his whole treatment plan would be snap out of it, right? And that is kind of how it is for the wounded warrior. You just snap out of it, just get over it, right? And that feels like a really poor treatment plan, until you've had enough of yourself, until you've been in that lack mentality and that wounded warrior, feeling like a victim, right? If you're a child of chaos, you were truly a victim of your circumstances. And as you there's this remothering thing, because I completely forgot that it was Mother's Day. Haven't spoken to my mother in years, so I've had to become the mother that she could never be, due to her circumstances or her wounded warrior syndrome or whatever. And there's this sort of remothering thing where it's like you have to reparent yourself. So there's a phase where you need to go, I'm really sorry that happened to you, and you have to kind of coddle yourself, that you were not coddled, right? So maybe you've got some mommy issues, maybe you got some maternal rifts. The Hermit tried to come out. We're gonna put it back and see if it comes out again. But you may, the Hermit in this deck, I should have showed you. Oh, it's right there still. See, they look absolutely petrified. And this is sort of the feminine aspect. We are Earth. So of the mutable energies, or of the mutable signs, the Hermit, Virgo, and Pisces, those are the feminine aspects. They have a tendency to kind of stay for too long, and not take a leap of faith, and not activate, and not kind of snap out of it. And you see this dead fish here. It's like, it's long dead, right? So you could be dealing with a Pisces or Virgo, or you could have Pisces. You could be in that energy, but they look terrified. I mean, they just look like, no. Like, I've been in hermit mode too long. Maybe you've been nurturing yourself too long that it's become a bit of a crutch, to be in your own energy. So, you know, snap out of it. You know, there is sort of a, and these cards, see, these cards even feel kind of timid. They're not really turning fully over. And so it's almost like they're kind of turning, so there's this in-between phase, right? We've got the Four of Swords here, so you're definitely in this Virgo contemplative energy where you're sort of waiting to be led, right? Maybe you didn't have parents who led you, or guardians who led you, or siblings who led you, depending on where you fall in the lineup. And if you were the eldest, then, you know, you're supposed to lead your other siblings, or if you're an only child, you're supposed to lead your own way, and you didn't have anybody to show you how the hell to do that. We've got the moon, the star, we've got some major arcana coming out in this golden foil, 2 cups. There's that divine partnership, right? Ace of Wands, yeah, and you could have just been dealing with really lackluster partners, because that's what we do. We go for what we know. We go for what's familiar, what's comfortable, but comfortability can turn into complacency. And then the Hermit, again, to clarify the Hermit. So, yeah. we gotta kind of snap out of it, Taurians. All right, there's a need to just get to work. 8 of Pentacles here. I don't know if you like kombucha, but man, I love this one. And I am sober, right? And this just kind of gives me this sort of, it reminds me of the fireballs, the like hard ciders, and you do a little bit of the, if you add some ginger to it, it heats it up a little bit more, and you can have kind of like a fireball thing. So maybe you're working through sobriety, maybe you, that's maybe what you need to snap out of. But I just wanted to talk about that. But yes, okay, we have the 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Pentacles talks about getting to work, right? Working on your environment, Pentacles, working on your physical environment, working on your body, right? Working on your home, right? Maybe you need to do like some work on your vehicle. And yeah, this is working on your own stuff here. You could have been working a lot for other people. And without that guidance, it's sort of, you're just flailing, you know, flailing in the workspace. It's like really being fed to the wolves from birth, and just going, you know, maybe raised by wolves. Wolves are the Native American zodiac for Pisces. So again, more Pisces energy here. We got the moon. All right, so we have the 8 of Pentacles, and then we have the 8 of Wands. Wands, getting to work, right? Using that scythe. Some people call it a Kaiser blade. I call it the sling blade. And what is Billy Bob Thornton? What is his sign? I feel like he's a Leo, but he could not be. But yeah, using that blade, that big blade, and it's kind of like the Grim Reaper, and then we have the Raven there, right? This is an ending. Like, I'm getting 10 of Wands energy here, right? We have the Ace of Wands at the bottom. So there's this, like, stop working for other people. Right, with sobriety, another sobriety is, I mean, there's sobriety from anything, but also like sexual sobriety. I was just talking to Aries about this. So you could be doing a divine union reading, a love reading. Maybe you know, you were dating around, you had casual encounters, You were just dating kind of like incompatible. We'll just call them incompatible, lower vibrational people, because you were also in a lower vibration, because you had nobody to show you how to heighten your vibration. And so you were like attracts like, so you were attracting sort of just dead ends, right? There's this dead end, and this is you going, no, I'm making a new path, right? So the hermit mode is kind of like, oh, I gotta back out of this path. Maybe you backtracked out of a path. Maybe you got lost for a while. But I feel like you've been really, we have the Four of Pentacles here, Four of Swords, right? 4 and 4. I'm a life path 4. Check your life path as well. These numbers could be important to you, but 4 is also about the elements, right? So when you're coming out of hermit mode and you're trying to, in a love way, trying to date again, maybe you've been in a dry spell, right? That's kind of, she's got like this dry, barren land around her, right? And I actually just, because I grow my whole front lawn, and I use the hay for my garden, but then I got reported by the code enforcement people. So I had to cut all this hay, and now it's drying in the driveway, and I'll put it into my garden beds, which is perfect timing. I was wanting to do it anyway, but it just was kind of like getting that code enforcement made me, we're bulls. Once we get going, we're unstoppable, but it is getting going, right? So kind of needing that full energy, needing that fire, right? And so there's, the only wands we have here are the 8 of Wands. So like coming out of the 10 of Wands, you're just going right past 9 of Wands. You're not going to be guarded about it. You're just ending it and you're starting fresh. And then we have the Ace of Wands. But yeah, you could have been in a dry spell with lovers, with dating. Maybe you just got so burnt out on like these lower vibrational people that you're tired of past energy, right? I don't do past energy readings. If you're here for past energy, this is not going to be the reading for you, right? Because divine unions are not about backtracking into things that deterred you from your divine path before, right? Learn the lesson, move forward, right? If you want past energy, if you're stuck on past energy, you were attracted to them at a lower vibration. So sometimes when you go separate ways, you can higher your vibration, you can really do the personal work, and then somehow you'll come back together. But that still will not be past energy. That will be like a completely new energy when and if that ever happens. But if you're holding out on the idea or the potential that you saw in a past person or past endeavor, energy of any kind, if it's past energy, then remind yourself of the place that you were in when you were attracted to that person, right? And how far you've come. And why would you want to go back to that, right? Why would you want to go back to that? Do you want to be the person you were before? No, like you've done too much work. Like you're hacking. I'm really drawn to this 8 of Wands, like get fired up. And I don't condone like Nike slogans and just do it. And because I believe that we really need to nurture ourselves the way that we were never nurtured. We have to take that time to be depressed, right? To be in that space of lack, right? So that we can see what we're lacking, why we're lacking, and how to excavate that space, right? And like dig up those bones, right? Unveil those skeletons, open the closet and like air it out and get all the pests and the parasites and the demonic entities and all of that gunk out, right? That release, that letting go. And you can't do that if you're going, if you're just doing it, all right? If you're just in a Wands energy, right? And that's kind of where I feel like you were kind of maybe an escape artist. You were kind of always on the go, always on the run. Maybe you didn't really feel like you had a home. there's an artist I was listening to the playlist, Bootstraps is the artist, and The Road, something about the road. Anyway, I discovered the artist from a movie years ago called Take Me Home. Take me home tonight. And I think the lead actress is also a Taurus. Anyway, but it has a really beautiful soundtrack. It's about a road trip, so there could be a need for you to kind of, maybe you were just always like on the go and you never really felt like you had a home. So there, I do feel this sort of estrangement, like you haven't really spoken to your family in a long time, or you've just been in isolation. You just really have kind of cut everything out. Like the Four of Swords means that you've kind of already gone through the Queen of Swords. You've cut everything out, and now you're sort of setting with what you have left. You're setting with the information, and you're balancing it, right? Like what Magician energy 4 is about, the 4 elements, right? The Magician has all 4 elements. The Emperor and the Empress, they have all 4 kingdoms or queendoms. So it's the divine balance 4, right? 4 of Wands, which is where you're kind of like hacking these wands down, right? And 3 of Wands is about making a plan and maybe setting out on a new road. So maybe you're going on a trip, maybe you're traveling, maybe you're moving, right? There's definitely movement coming, because where you are or where you have been is no longer for you, right? The you are now, the version of you now, none of that is going to suffice, right? And whenever we're at this place where it's that Fool energy where you have to jump. I went bungee jumping years ago, and when I jumped forward, it was fine. You know, I mean, I was like, woo, I'm nervous or whatever, you know, I was jumping and you could see in front of you. But then the second jump, you jump backwards. So I had already jumped. I already knew what the experience was going to be like, right? But for some reason, when I went to jump back, I was holding on and the person's facing me, and I went to let go, and like I wanted to go because I knew it was going to be fun because I enjoyed the last jump. But now I couldn't see, and my body had this self-preservation mode where I couldn't let go, and I sort of was like, you know, like, come on feet. What's that from Labyrinth? Come on feet. It was sort of like, come on hands. And I looked at the guy, and he sort of laughed, like I'm sure he's seen this many times before. And it was just so odd, that quick disconnect. And it was only kind of a split second, and then I let go. But it was like, oh, wait a minute. I felt so out of practice, even though I had jumped already. But because I couldn't see it, because it was unknown, because it was sort of this foreign experience, you could be feeling that with love, you could be feeling that with work, you could be feeling that in just your life in general. You're about to jump again, and it's gonna be so much more fun and so much more thrilling to really let go and kind of let the divine take over. You got the harness on, you're safe, right? And maybe some affirmations will do you well. I have trouble with affirmations. If you grew up not receiving words of affirmation kind of feel false. That kind of goes into gratitude, right? Saying, I am beautiful, I am abundant, I am grateful for this or that. If it feels inauthentic in any way, there's a disconnect there, and so you're kind of waiting for the results of your manifestation before you can actually have gratitude for them. But that's not the way that it works, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever. It's just kind of, it can be a struggle to say, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm divinely protected, this is for my highest good. And so our reluctancy is to hold on to the past, right? To hold on to this. I was on a bridge, so you're holding on to this bridge, and your hands can't a need to release. There's a final release coming before you can really welcome in something, an experience that's going to just kind of enthrall you, right? It's going to encompass you. You're going to just be falling backward, and you're totally safe, and it's going to be a blast, and you're going to love it. It's going to be everything that you've been working for and everything that you've been waiting for, right? But with all that said, there is a need to just go, just do it, right? And it's going to, like, you've already done it before, right? You've done it before, but you've done it in a way that did not suit you. So it's okay to love again. It's okay to move, right? And if you were someone, for me personally, I moved around a lot. And so it was like, I was always going. I never really felt like I had a home. So when I would move, I always felt like I was running away. And every place that I've lived in, I've always come back home, right? Back to my home state in between every single move that I've done. And it's like, currently I'm back in my home state and planning a move again. But it's been about 4 years in my current home, where it's like, it's been a struggle to just kind of stay put. But now it seems like I've gotten so accustomed to staying put that it feels foreign to me to even the idea of leaving, even though, like, I got proficient at moving, I got proficient at going, I got proficient at leaving, escaping, putting everything behind me. But then I was put in my place for years to work on this, right? And so it's like, you could be saving, right? Money. Pentacles are about stability. That's us. We like stability. We like to know what's in our account, what's in our closet. We like to know what we have and don't have. But that can get into a place of being possessive if you're so fixated on what you have tangible to you, right? There's something about what you have, the tools you have that you've developed, that you've acquired, that you've gathered up, that you don't even realize. You don't even realize your own power. And so, and I have to take my advice with these readings, right? So affirmations, I think, are key for us to realize that power, right? Because what's a realization? It's like seeing something that you already knew to be true. Like, it's a realization is like evidence. And so you're kind of like, I'm just going to hold on to what I have here, right? And you see this like skeleton dancing behind with this clock here around her neck. It's like there's a death, there's a need to let go. And this is kind of maternal energy, this is feminine energy, right? So you could just be really stuck in that place of being in a feminine energy where you're sort of hoarding too much. You could be accumulating a lot of things in your physical world, right? So there's a need to purge, there's a need to declutter, to let go. And if we're talking about energy here, which we usually are, if there are connections, maybe home-based connections, right? Childhood friends, family members, old lovers, whatever, there's a need to really disconnect from them, right? Like, really kind of cut all that Lorena Bobbitt that stuff. Cut all that wands energy out, right? Because our sacral sexual energy, right, which is, you know, Plutonian. It's all about creativity, right? Our creation comes from death, right? Death and rebirth. So there's like a death that needs to happen, a release, a letting go of, a cutting out of, and then get back into your energy, but in maybe a masculine way. But now you're going to be doing it in a way that's also balanced with your feminine energy, right? Because you've got 4 of Pentacles, you get the 8 of Pentacles. So it's like you're taking all of this stuff that you learned from being in this hermit mode, from being in this place of guarded safety, contemplative, nurturing energy, but to let somebody else in, right? There's a masculine energy, right? Yang energy, active energy that needs to take place, and that's this Ace of Wands, right? You just want the one. You don't need 8 of Wands. You don't need 10 of Wands. You don't need all that one. You just want the one wand, right? Or if you're the masculine, you just want to, you only want to give one wand to one place. And see this sort of like this hand reaching out of the clouds there, it's divine, right? You can't look, right? Seeing is not believing. To realize it, energetically realize it in a divine way, to have divine realization, it's about trusting the knowledge within. It's not about, okay, once I see the number in my bank account, then I'll be grateful for my abundance. No, you're grateful for your abundance when you're in lack, right? And then you can move forward because you'll be drawing that in, right? There's a realization that needs to happen before the physical realization. That's the only way that it's going to be physically realized, right? Because before you felt lack, I'm sure you felt abundant. Like you had a lot of money, maybe you had a lot of suitors, right? Connections, a lot of like friends and, family, and maybe you were making good money, maybe you were working a lot. So you felt really productive, but you were completely void within. There was such a desperation, such a longing for more, right? But more in the spirit is actually less in the ego, right? Less in the physical is more in the spirit, and vice versa. The more you have in the physical, the more clutter you have, the more money you have. It's not spiritual abundance. So yeah, maybe you grew up that way. Maybe you grew up with plenty of money, plenty of things. You never wanted for physical stuff, but you were always longing for spiritual connection, right? Authentic connection. And so yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it. You're just gonna have to jump. You have to jump backwards and trust that your harness is on tight. And if it's not, well, at least it was a thrilling downfall, right? Would you rather, like with the Fool, would you rather experience spiritual abundance and meet, I see so many romantic movies where the person dies and it's like, damn, they only got to see them for 3 days. But would you rather, like they met the love of their life and then one of them dies. Would you rather meet your person, right? And experience that true connection, like why your soul chose to incarnate into this path, in this life, in this cycle. This was the thing that you were wanting. You were wanting this divine union. And so would you rather have it for 3 days? Or would you rather just hold on to that bridge and live 100 till you're 100, with superficial connections and feeling this lack mentality and feeling this like fear? Look at the fear, right? Once you jump, you can't feel the fear anymore. The fear is only when you're holding on. The fear is only in the known. The unknown part, like, it's done. The jump has happened. You're in the free fall. There, you can't have fear. Fear and gratitude don't, exist simultaneously. And that used to bother me because I was in a place of lack. So I'd be like, well, yeah, they do. Because I can logically look around my space and go, wow, I'm really grateful for the people in my life, the stuff I have. I'm grateful for, my health. I'm grateful for my fridge full of food. I'm grateful for so many things. And intellectually, I could say I'm grateful, but then I still felt this like emptiness. And it's because that's not the thing that I wanted, right? That's not what I was really calling in. And so we get really confused sometimes when we feel that lack for, that longing for connection, for divine union. There's just nothing greater than that. It doesn't matter how full your fridge is, how full your bank account is. It doesn't matter how full your house is. It doesn't matter what you look like. None of that matters. None of the superficial stuff matters. You can't take it with you, right? So if your harness breaks and you plummet into that river, that little rocky river down below, which is beautiful, it's a beautiful last scenery, right? And the experience of falling is incredible. What if you can't take any of the stuff? You can't take your bag that you left up on the bridge, right? You can't take anything with you. So if you get to go back to the ethers, 32, if you get to go back to the ethers and say, this was my experience, you're having some bonfire powwow with, other souls, and you're just kind of like sharing, war stories from being a terrestrial being, then what stories are you gonna tell them? I'm getting off there, but I do feel like there's this kind of pressure, this sort of like race against time, right? With this time here and this death, like maybe you feel like we're never going to meet. There's not enough time. But even if you meet moments before you die, that's moments. Those moments will last you eternity. Whereas the lack mentality and being stuck in a place where you don't have gratitude, yeah, there's like time, there's like, look how diligently this person is working with these little time gauges everywhere, and there's like, the sun's going, it's like, the heat is on now. Yeah, it feels like the heat is on. This does seem like this kind of pressure. But all you really want from this entire existence is a moment. A moment will last you lifetimes. The star is that. That's your incarnation. I thought somebody was stopping outside my house. But the star is the incarnation, right? And I also think about Practical Magic, where his favorite shape is a star, right? How she does the Amos Verita. I don't know the words. Yeah, but she does the love spell, where she's kind of like all the things that, the most impossible things, characteristics of this person, so that she'll never fall in love. And this is, you've created this person, right? You've created this person in an ethereal way. You've really, they're already realized in your imagination. Excuse me, like the magician. And then we have the moon here, and there's like a wolf, Clifford the red dog, and then there's a lobster, crustacean kind of thing, all at the moon, right? These are your moon signs. Like Cancer is often represented by the dog for loyalty, and the wolf, I mean, that's kind of a raggedy looking wolf. It's kind of more like a coyote. And that's not really a scorpion, but scorpions were like really large crustaceans in the water, you know, prehistorically speaking. So, yeah, it's your water signs. It's kind of that's like that little river at the base here, and then the towers. So there is sun, there is creation behind death, right? You just have to go through those. It's like the never-ending story, right? You guys have been together many times before, and you will be together many times after this, right? Because you were always together. This is your best friend. They live within you. But this reminds me of never-ending story. Is it the Southern Oracle? Southern Oracle, where it tests the true character of a person. And then we have the Two of Cups. So you have this meeting here. Bastion. And her name, the princess that he names her, his mom's name, your mom could have passed, or you could have, you know, energetically put your maternal influences to rest, or your maternal lineage to rest. And you're going to kind of be your own parents now. Or you could be pregnant, you could be wanting that, you know, where you are a mother yourself and you're like, I don't know how to do this. And you have a fear about, well, I don't know how to do this because I was never shown how to do this. But the boy's mother is named Moonchild, and that's what he names the princess at the end of Neverending Story. Spoiler alert if you know, I've been living under a rock. Like these two hermits here, living under this. See, they're living under the bridge. You can be like something about a bridge to Terabithia, bridged across from one to the other. And sort of like the three brothers in Harry Potter, where they get the Deathly Hallows. There's a death that needs to happen, the rebirth here, the Virgin, right, Virgo. This is like, you know, creating your son of God, right? I feel like I'm relating more to the feminine aspect here, so you could be calling in like whatever you call God, but your divine counterpart is going to be of God. Your divine union is going to be God-like. It's going to be divine. That's where it gets the name. So affirmations, purge your space, maybe start just doing mild stuff, right? You don't have to, like, I mean, if you want to get into CrossFit or whatever, fine, but just get out of your routine, get out of your funk, snap out of it. We got the Hierophant at the bottom here, and then the Five of Wands and the Star again. King of Wands could be dealing with a fire sign, which would be really apropos because you kind of need some fire. It feels like you need these wands. You need just this one wand to kind of show you the way, to light your way, because you've been kind of living in the dark and you need light. So yeah, maybe you could do some sun gazing and sit out under the sun, get that natural nutrients King of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. See, there's that Nine of Wands. You're skipping that, and you're going straight to the King of Cups. So you could be dealing with water sign, you could be dealing with a fire sign. Either way, the energy is going to be nurturing, but it's going to be masculine. This is the leadership that you've been wanting, and that's what the sun is. That's what God is, right? It's a masculine energy of trusting, right? Trusting this sort of paternal influence. And yeah, I think you just didn't really have an example of how to be led, how to lead yourself, or how to choose the right partner. But you've learned plenty. You've been in this space. You know what you need to do for yourself. So it won't be long. That you won't be long, right? Just a little bit further. And your person's already here. They're already in your energy. You've already created them. So realize them with your words. Realize them with your heart, right? Imagine if you sit in meditation out under the sun and you go up your chakras, imagine what it feels like, right? Imagine what it feels like to let go and let God, right? Imagine what it feels like to be intimate with this person, right? Imagine what it feels like to create with this person, to be inspired and to be their muse and them to be your muse. What it feels like to have your heart nurtured, to be safe, and to speak your truth, right? And then you can imagine yourselves in many lifetimes, right? Energetically what you've been, right? Like Cloud Atlas, you guys have just been you've been doing this so many times, you know what you're doing. This time you just have to do it without looking, and trust the harness. Believe that you are safe, that you are protected, and that you're worthy of what you've already created. All right? So I wish you well.